All right, so here is day 2 for week 3, the science reading about climate change. This section is called What is Causing Climate Change? There are many ideas as to what may be causing global warming and climate change. These ideas can be divided into 2 main categories: human activities and natural causes. The main human activity blamed for global warming is the burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas, in cars, factories, and electric power plants. When these substances are burned for fuel or energy, carbon dioxide gas and other gases are released into the atmosphere, or the air. These gases build up in the atmosphere over time. The gases let much of the energy of sunlight pass through the air to warm the Earth's surface. Earth's surface then radiates, sends out heat energy back to the air. And there's a good picture that kind of describes that. So it's like, if it was working, they could go out, and they can't because the greenhouse gases, so they're just heating up the Earth is what they're saying. I wonder if all of this time off from the coronavirus and nobody driving or flying planes or using all these big modes of transportation as much, if that's changing any of that. You know, because technically that's what they would want you to do. Sorry, I'm trying to mess with the visual part. As much of the radiated heat energy drifts off into space. However, some of the heat energy is trapped near Earth's surface by carbon dioxide and certain other gases in the atmosphere. The trapped heat energy is then radiated back to the surface. Well, that's what that is. Warming the surface more. Because this process acts like a greenhouse, a building in which special glass walls trap heat and warm plants. I didn't know that's I mean, I kind of figured that's how they got it, but it is called the greenhouse effect. Carbon dioxide, methane, and other gases that trap heat are called greenhouse gases. So then they have a bunch of different things about where all the gases come from. Carbon dioxide, fossil fuels, burning and cutting down forests, and volcanoes. So that obviously is natural. The greenhouse effect is a natural part of how Earth functions. If Earth did not have a natural greenhouse effect, it would be as cold as Mars. No thank you. Too cold for liquid water or too cold for life. However, many scientists believe that the carbon dioxide released into the air by the burning of fossil fuels is increasing the warming of the greenhouse effect. I want to read that last part again. However, many scientists believe that the carbon dioxide released into the air by the burning of fossil fuels is increasing the warming of the greenhouse effect. So they know it's going to happen, but they just think it's happening too much. It's interesting that a lot of this, they talk about, you know, like these things, but they don't really share too much evidence. Maybe they'll do that here in a minute. What is the evidence that carbon dioxide from fossil fuels is related to global warming? I'm glad at least they kind of got that. Humans began burning fossil fuels in large amounts when industrialization, the use of power-driven machines, became widespread in the mid-1800s. Since then, measurements suggest that the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased by about 25%. According to meteorologists, the Earth's surface temperature has increased during the same time. How would they have known from way back then? I mean, a lot of them didn't even have like really good tools, and just makes me wonder how much they actually accurately know that. Other human activity that has increased the carbon dioxide in the air is the burning and cutting down of forests, or deforestation. You can plant new trees. Trees and other plants remove carbon dioxide from the air to carry out photosynthesis, the chemical process by which plants make their own food. When there are fewer plants to carry out photosynthesis, more carbon dioxide builds up in the atmosphere. I'm not saying that they should cut down all the trees, but I'm just saying that forests can regenerate. I mean, to some extent. And yes, there are people who are going really extreme. And that's kind of what I was hoping they would talk about here. Maybe they do later. Sometimes scientists point out that the global warming does not have to be caused by human activity. Global warming and global cooling happen over and over again before people start burning have happened before people started burning fossil fuels. See? Some people. During the past few hundreds of thousands of years, there have been several ice ages when much of Earth's surface was covered with ice. In between these ice ages have been warm periods. The last ice age ended about 11,500 years ago. How do they know that? According to geologists, we are now in a warm period between two ice ages. I hope I'm not around for that next one. That would not be cool because I only like the heat, mainly. What else do weather records and other scientific evidence show? In Europe, the climate cooled between the medieval warm period and the Little Ice Age between 14 and 1800. The climate has been warming since the end of the Little Ice Age. These earlier climate changes have had natural causes. Perhaps the current global warming has some natural causes too. I mean, I think things go in cycles. I mean, I'm not a scientist or anything, but I think they do. I think that sometimes things can get warm and some things can get cold, and it's not the end of the world as we know it. If meteorologists have been keeping careful records of the Earth's temperature only since the beginning, that's my point. If meteorologists have been keeping careful records of the Earth's temperature only since the mid-1800s, how can we know what earlier temperatures and climates were like? Thank you. This is what I wanted to know. One way to know is by studying the growth rings and cross-sections of very old trees. That's still not that long. Trees grow more when the climate is wet and warm than when the climate is cold and dry. Tree rings are thicker when there are greater growth. By analyzing such rings, scientists can discover trends in temperature going back over hundreds of years. I saw some really big trees in the redwood forest. I do not know how many rings, but they were huge. But they also get a ton of rain. To discover even older temperature trends, scientists use various other methods. One such method is to examine ice scores. Ice scores are long cylinder-shaped samples of ice that are drilled out of the ground in Antarctica and other frozen places. An ice core contains chemical evidence of what the atmosphere was like during different times, going back many thousands of years. How do they know that? I mean, that's actually really cool because I never even thought about that. But that's super cool. But how? How do you know? Thousands of years? Thousands, really? I'm putting a question there. How long are they? I mean, how far does it go? Anyway, the deeper the ice, the further back the time it was formed. Certain chemicals, such as large amounts of carbon dioxide, will tell researchers that the Earth's climate was relatively warm at the time the ice was formed. Such methods allow scientists to learn about the Earth's past and natural changes in climate. Although scientists do not fully understand the natural causes of climate change, they suspect that the number of factors are involved. For example, the amount of heat energy produced by the sun varies from time to time. Also, varying over time are the shape of the Earth's orbits around the sun and the angle and the tilt that the Earth has on its axis, which is the imaginary line around which the Earth spins. So these are so many natural possible causes. Yeah, I would definitely be writing these down as facts, especially right here about being able to go back by drilling into the ground. All right, so close. Possible results of climate change. Whether global warming is caused by human activity, natural force factors, or a combination of both, it may result in certain changes to the planet. How do scientists predict these changes? What might these changes be? What would such changes mean to you? Well, one of the main ways that scientists try to predict the future of climate change is by using computer models. These are computer programs based on mathematical equations about sunlight, heat, rainfall, wind, ocean currents, and other climate factors. Scientists change these equations in different ways to mimic the way that these factors might change in the real world. The computer program then works out the most likely effects that these factors would have on the Earth's climate. So they just make stuff up. I mean, obviously they're predicting based on, like, if this happened, this would happen. Computer models are most useful for helping researchers learn several possibilities, results of climate change. However, predictions made with computer models are not certain. I'm putting a big star by that because I think that's important to know. Maybe these predictions will really happen and maybe they will not. The following possibilities are based on the computer models predicting very serious effects of global warming. Other computer models predict far less serious effects. Good to know. According to some computer models, if current rates of warming continue, Earth's average surface temperature may increase as much as 5 degrees Celsius or 10 degrees Fahrenheit by 2100. Such a great rise in temperature could cause enormous changes in the natural habitats of many plants and animal species. I suppose. I mean, 10 degrees. I know that it would mess with fish for sure. Wetlands might change to grasslands and grasslands might change to deserts. That makes sense. Plants and animals that could not adjust to these changes would just die out. Sad face. Large decrease in Earth's surface temperature could cause vast amounts of ice on Antarctica and Greenland to melt to the sea. Large increases in Earth's surface temperature. Oh, I see. This could in turn result in rises of sea level in several meters. So a meter is like 3 feet. So several meters. One, I don't live on the coast, so it's probably good for me. But also, I don't really know about that. Obviously, people are trying to do better, but I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, that's my opinion. If all the ice on Greenland were to melt, for example, sea levels might increase more than 6 meters or 20 feet. Okay, that would be bad. That's a lot, according to some computer models. The unconventional truth. Oh, an inconvenient truth. Sorry. In 2007, former U.S. Vice President Al Gore was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his work in warning the public about possible dangers of global warming. Gore also wrote a book and appeared in a film about global warming, both in which were titled An Inconvenient Truth. The book and film featured several possible disasters that might be in store for the Earth's global warming. These disasters included the extinction of many species of animals, deadly floods, and in many countries, much more powerful hurricanes. It is important to keep in mind that these disasters are not definitely going to happen. They are only the worst among different kinds of possibilities. Also, they're just giving like a piece of information. I wonder if they have anybody who disagrees and they're going to share about their books, because that would be interesting. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I can't wait to hear what you think.